Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Imam Sahib says that during these blessed days, we are able to hear the holy and blessed words of the Holy Prophet ﷺ in this dars. These days, the matters that we are learning about are to do with salat, wuzu, cleansing oneself, and expectations and requirements of mosques. In this regard, Imam Sahib wishes to present some more traditions, and the first of these have been reported by Hadith Abu Hurairah Zanho, and he was the companion who had completely devoted himself to the threshold of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. He was among the Ashabu Sufa, and he would always try to stay with the Holy Prophet ﷺ as much as possible and hear his statements and remember them, and then also relate them correctly afterwards. So this is the companion who has the most reported traditions. So the Abu Hurairah Zanhu relates that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that, should I not tell you that through which Allah erases sins and exalts one's status? Imam Sahib says that here what we should wonder why the Holy Prophet ﷺ adopted this method, that he first asked the companions that, shall I tell you something which would remove all your sins and which would exalt your status? This is a very beautiful style that the Holy Prophet ﷺ adopted, because sometimes people can be sitting around not paying attention, and even if something important is said, it doesn't benefit them. So the Holy Prophet ﷺ very intelligently first he invited the attention of the companions towards himself and said that, should I not tell you of those things which can raise your statuses? So after he said this, and after he completely awakened their attention, and of course when the companions heard this, they said, Prophet of Allah, please do tell us. The companions used to be hungry for any information on how to attain the names of Allah, so they could mold their actions in accordance to those instructions. So when this environment was created, where the companions had his full attention, that he had the full attention of the companions, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that to perform your wuzu even though you do not feel like it. Imam Sahib said that, for example, if somebody is cold due to some illness or because of the cold or something, and then to still offer your salat. And so Imam Sahib says this is the first step towards a step on the ladder towards doing proper wuzu. And then Imam Sahib says that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that to come from the mosque, to the mosque from far away. So Imam Sahib said that whatever means of transport you use is fine, but the further you come from, the more reward you get. So Imam Sahib says that at first I mentioned that if someone is cold and hot water is not available, then one is hesitant to do wuzu with cold water, and then to walk far to go to the mosque. And then the third thing that is mentioned is that to wait for the next salat as soon as one finishes one salat. So Imam Sahib said that this is also mentioned in other traditions, that the believer should be in the state that after he finishes one salat, he goes out of the mosque after completing his salat, and when he leaves, then his state should be such that is of a true believer. And such something we should also inculcate in ourselves, that the true believer's heart remains suspended in the mosque, even if his body leaves the mosque and he has to perform things to do with living in the world and and he has to work, or other needs have to be fulfilled, but the heart of the believer stays hanging in the mosque, and he keeps waiting for the next salat after he finishes one salat. And so the example of this of a believer given here is that his heart is suspended in the mosque, so he never leaves the mosque, even if bodily he may leave it out of some compulsion. So Imam Sahib says that here this example of a believer which is given here, that for the sake of some needs, to fulfill certain needs, he leaves the mosque. So what he wants, if his heart stays in the mosque, so it is as if he is saying that he desperately wants to offer another salat in the mosque, and it is as if his heart remains in the mosque, even though he physically may not be there. Imam says now is presenting the second tradition, and he says that the person who performs his wuzu and then goes toward the mosque in order to offer his obligatory prayers, then every step that he takes towards the mosque, if one of his steps erases his sins, then the other step would exalt his status. Imam said that this is such an incredible hadith, and some very weighty matters are mentioned here. The Holy Prophet ﷺ gives the example that when it is time for salat and a person leaves his home, then the person who offers his wuzu at home, Imam says that this is better to do wuzu at home, because one does wuzu at home, he cannot do it properly. If he does it in the mosque, it may not be proper, but at home one can perform wuzu in a calm and peaceful manner, and then he walks towards the mosque, and there he offers his obligatory prayer. Then the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that while going towards the mosque, all the steps that he takes, each and every step is a source of reward for him. So with one step, his one sin is erased, and with the next step, his status is raised. So it means that when we say that one should keep in view this fact, that if we walk further, it will give us more reward. So at each step, we are able. It is of advantage to us if we walk to the mosque. So we should keep in view the limits of time, and one should try to go to the mosque before salat starts, and then one should not spend the time in needless talk. One should try to concentrate on remembering Allah and in sending peace and blessings on the Holy Prophet ﷺ, or by reciting some verses of the Holy Quran. So in such a way, he will prove that his entire time has been engrossed in the worship of Allah. And then the third tradition, Imam Sahib says that he will also present the words of which are that once someone asked the question of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, that tell me which action it is that is the most beloved to Allah. So sometimes Imam Sahib said the companions would ask questions themselves as well, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that the most beloved action in the eyes of Allah is that the believer offers his salat at the right time. Imam Sahib says that obviously in the mosque it is at the right time, but if someone has to offer their salat at home for some valid reasons, then one needs to offer it on time. So to offer salat at the right time is the most beloved act in the eyes of Allah. And then the person asked, what is the second most beloved matter in the eyes of Allah? And the Holy Prophet ﷺ said to treat one's parents well. And then the third was to do jihad in the path of Allah. So these are three important pious deeds which are mentioned in this particular tradition. Imam said there is no limit to how many pious deeds one can perform. The paths are numerous, but the only thing is that we should give full attention to this, and one should concentrate on this, and one should try to adopt these good qualities completely and thoroughly. May Allah enable all of us to follow this advice. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim innaka Hamidum Mujeeb.